This is Shanghai, China, on the island of Changsing, where they began planning fabricating steel for the new Bay Bridge at the 3-mile-long ZPMC plant on May 16, 2006. This is where the property line ended before the project. To make it happen, everything past this line was built just for the new Bay Bridge project. It's been a massive undertaking with a pool of up to 40,000 workers fabricating the steel. You're about to meet some of the 200 Americans who have been working for nearly 5 years on the project, and some of the Chinese team who worked with them to make the tallest self-anchored suspension tower bridge in the world.
My name is Sean Wichman, and I work for American Bridge Fluor.
And what do you do for them?
Project engineer. Main responsibility is anything to do with the orthotropic box girder portion of the SAS bridge, which is the span, so it's the actual bridge span.
The decks?
Yeah, the decks. This is a mock-up that we did. It was a model of the hinges. So we built that just to kind of prove out some construction methodology before we got into the real thing. And now the real thing's done, so we can see that.
Where's the real thing?
It's back there, but basically this is E-line here. This is lift 13, the face of lift 13. But it goes, this shop goes all the way back. So
let's go for a walk.
I am 33 years old. I grew up, I'm a Bay Area native, so I'm proud to say that. I have 2 kids, and walking through the airport with 19 suitcases that weigh 100 pounds each, and a 3-month-old and a 4-year-old, and my wife was, I kind of got some second thoughts there for a little bit. But once we got here, it was, we got settled, and we felt pretty lucky. My youngest name is Henry, and my oldest name is Oliver. So.
And your wife's name?
My wife's name is Andrea. Right now we're standing on top of lift 13E. This is the joint between lift 13 and lift 14. Right now we're working on the last couple of sections, trying to get them out of here. It's lifts 13 and 14, so it's where the cable anchorage is. It's where the cable attaches to the bridge and then splays out and anchors in. So,
sounds complicated.
It gets that way, yeah, definitely.
Is it the most complicated part of the bridge?
I would say it's the most complicated part of the bridge. One of the benefits of working on this project is I've got to know some people that are very seasoned in the steel bridge industry, 40, 50 years experience, and from most of these guys I talk to say that not only is it the most complicated part of this bridge, it's the most complicated part of any bridge. So.
Somebody told me that even though you work, 12 hours a day? 6 days a week?
It varies, but yeah, we put in our fair share of hours, sure, yeah.
But you actually went home and worked on a model of the section you were working on at the time because you just wanted to have a better understanding of how the thing was going to go together, I guess, right?
Yeah, I got to China in about October of last year. So we, a year ago, October. So we, one of the things that one of my tasks here was, or my main task was to finish up the East End because I'd been involved in that. And, so I took and made a paper model just to help, with the fabricator, with ZPMC, we can discuss fabrication procedures and which pieces and parts go in first. And just to get a better, it's hard to look at a 2D piece of paper and look at very complex geometry changes on a 2D piece of paper. So it helped to be able to put something in 3D and actually be able to toss it around a little bit.
So you have the model here. Can you show us?
Yeah, it's pretty simple actually. I just printed out some drawings and used some copy paper boxes to do it. But this is lift 13, the big one, and this is lift 14. So.
And tell us why these parts are so complicated. Can you show us here?
Well,
what you're having?
It's hard to see in here because it's not very detailed, but it's a lot of it had to do with the geometry changes. There's a lot of different planes of plate that go together here. A lot of this is architectural, so that where the cable goes in, the bridge still looks beautiful. That's one of the main purposes of some of these geometry.
You can see that there's a slope to the side, there's a curve.
Yeah, and that's another thing is the very end of the bridge is actually on a curve. So actually the cable comes in and the bridge begins to curve into the skyway. So in that respect, that's been probably you know, one of the most significant challenges is how to deal with that curvature and how to deal with that change in geometry. We've come to a solution that's been mutually agreeable to everybody, I think.
Was that easy to get to that solution?
No. We started detailing the steel parts for the east end in about 3.5 years ago. So, and we started fabrication in about March or April. So it was about a 3-year process just from the first geometry drawings to get to the first fabrication piece on the shop floor.
And all along the rest of the bridge is still working on parts, but you're talking about these 2 sections.
Just these, well, 4, eastbound and westbound. So yeah, that's been, they were by far the most challenging sections of the bridge. This is lift 13. The cable comes in through here and it attaches to the bridge via a huge cast saddle that goes right here, and the saddle actually curves the cable around and splays it out into its individual strands. The strands then come into lift 14 and they actually get anchored, each one individually. So there's 137 strands in the cable, and they get anchored with bearing blocks right here. There's not a lot of room. We have areas with as little as 30 or 40 millimeters of clearance. So when you're talking, you know, how big some of this stuff is, you know, we have areas where a strand comes, you know, really that close to its next, to the next object in its way. So
how did you work it out? If everybody has a different opinion on how to fix it, how do you work it out?
Well, I think that, you know, like I said, there was compromise. I think that I think we stalled for a long time, and we did a lot of traveling. It's, you know, face-to-face contact always helps. It's very difficult to get on the phone and talk about, you know, just like it's difficult to look at a 2D drawing. It's difficult to get on the phone with somebody and actually talk about some of these complex problems. We had a lot of FaceTime. These drawings were done in Vancouver, BC. So we had a lot of FaceTime in Vancouver. We had a lot of high-level people get involved, and it was just manpower. You know, they had 27 guys working on this full time. So, and even more at times. They had 35 top was their top number that they had working on this at one time.
And how do you characterize these meetings? Were they tense?
At times, yeah, definitely at times. But I think that, you know, we had people, we had individuals. I mean, Ken got involved, and he's a very, you know, amiable guy, and he brought spirits together, and I think it was good. I think that it brought out the, you know, sometimes it brought out the worst in people, but ultimately it brought out the best in people. I think that some of the challenges that we went through were just unending, it seemed like, and we thought we'd never get to this stage that we're at right now, and you know, here we are, and in the last 6 or 8 months we've made a lot of good forward progress, and frankly it's shocking to me. I never thought we could be at this stage. So
how many key people do you think there were involved in actually finding the middle ground that you could all accept?
Probably you know, 10 or 12 really key people.
Out of how many are we talking total group?
You mean total that work for ABF?
Well, involved in the processes of these 2 sections.
You know, 50, 60, 70.
This is E line and that's W line down there. So it's kind of set up just how it will be in the field.
How high up off the ground are we?
Right now we're about, off the ground we're about 7.5 meters. Right there, that's the cable anchorage, so that's where all the cables go through. The hinges are right here. You can actually see W-line hinges back there. It's kind of hard to see from up here, E-line, because it's covered up. But
so just these sections are the ones you've been working on for 3 years?
Yeah.
Along with everything else going on for the bridge?
Yeah. So this is them. And like I said, we've made very good progress. If you were to come out here 3 months ago, we hadn't set any plates, so it's amazing how much they've built in the last 3 or 4 months. It's really fantastic.